Hey, hey! Welcome to the Wealth Agenda Show with your financial coach and host, Tania Brielle Mabrey. Right now, we are about to get started on an in-depth, extended interview with the DC diva of estate planning, Miss Lisa McCurdy, the wealth counselor. So thank you for hanging out some more with us. We are so excited to learn from you. You are a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I started the firm to educate our community, so here I am.
Yes. Okay. So we learned initially that you work with clients that typically have as families a net worth between 10 million and 30 million. Now, when it comes to our community, some of us are just getting our first six-figure job, period, right? So when we are on a journey and just starting out when it comes to estate planning and maybe not quite at that high of a net worth, what are some keys? Like, how do you get started? What do you do? What advice do you have?
Establish a basic plan.
Okay.
Definitely, it should include your last will and testament. That's where you identify your beneficiaries, you appoint an individual to serve as executor, gather your assets, pay your final bills, and distribute your assets to your beneficiaries. You also want to plan for incapacity.
Okay.
So we hope we never face it, but we want to appoint those trusted individuals if we ever need them. Let's say we're recovering from an operation, we can't speak for ourselves.
Okay.
We know whom in our community, within our network, we would appoint to manage things just as we would on our behalf for our best interest. So a power of attorney document for your property and finances, that individual will make decisions about all aspects of your assets.
Okay.
A power of attorney for your health care. They will make decisions about medications, procedures, etc. if you're not able to do so.
Okay.
If you have minor children, you also want to make some decisions with respect to their care.
Okay.
If you're unable to help them. So you can designate a guardian through standalone documents. You can designate and separate the guardianship of the individual versus the management of their estate and assets. That might not be the same person. That loving, nurturing friend, cousin, relative might not be able to manage, for instance, $1 million in cash that you left behind in the insurance.
Yes, but they can get your kid to gymnastics.
That's right. Exactly. So you can separate the two in certain guardianship and conservatorship documents.
Okay. So those are great tips. So first, you want to make sure you get your will and trust in place. You want to make sure you have your general power of attorney, then your health power of attorney, and then have guardianship documents set up. Those are great keys. And I also feel like, okay, we're in good shape because we did all those things. And the one thing that I actually found, and some people may not know this, is that if you have a legal plan at work, you can actually set up that basic structure through your legal plan.
You often can. Yeah, absolutely.
And so we also want people to work with esteemed professionals like yourself. But for people who may not know that is definitely an option.
Absolutely. Yeah. Work with a professional, use the resources at hand. When you move into, more complex circumstances, you'll want to look at a trust.
Yes.
A trust is really an asset management tool. It's kind of like setting up a mini company through which you manage your assets. The wonderful thing is once you've established a trust and your assets are transferred there, then during any time of incapacity, your successor trustee can step into your shoes privately, seamlessly, manage your affairs, and then post-death, there's no need for a probate case.
That sounds like that it's a very, very effective vehicle. So how would one know whether or not they're ready for a trust?
Keep in touch with your estate attorney.
Okay.
These documents should never be prepared, set aside, never revisited again.
Okay.
That's why we call ourselves your lifetime attorneys for your lifelong journey, because you need to make sure that the plan remains relevant. Otherwise, it's just a pretty piece of paper.
Ooh.
So as your circumstances change, revisit things every 3 to 5 years. And if there are marriages, divorces, births, deaths, significant change in inheritance or assets, then revisit even more often. But make sure that your plan is relevant and tailored to your unique circumstances.
Okay, I love it, because we don't want just pretty pieces of paper. We want legally protected documents, right?
Exactly correct.
Okay, now, have you seen any examples where people didn't have this in place?
Oh, absolutely. And that means that the plan is up to a court of law and all of the noise. So there will be that remote cousin whom you said 25 years ago, oh, you can have this thing, or I need for you to help me with this thing. And they'll step forward and say, they said I should receive everything.
Wow.
And that is no longer your wishes. And that probably was never your wish. So if you don't establish documents, you will not have a plan, and your loved ones, those whom you identify as worthy, will not be taken care of. You know, we're all building wealth in order for our loved ones to have resources, for them to be able to, not only current generations, but generations to come, to have a leg up, to be able to have that education fund so that they don't have to take out student loans, for instance, or that they're minimized, to make sure that maybe they have that seed money to purchase that first home.
Yes, I love it.
So we want to make sure that we're intentional. We call that legacy on purpose.
Legacy on purpose. I love that, right? Because we don't want our babies to have to pay the student loans. The Sally Mae is not kind. We want that seed money for the businesses, right?
Exactly.
That is awesome. And if you don't do it, Cousin Bertha is coming for you.
That's right.
She's coming for all your stuff.
And so is the tax man.
And the tax man. And the probate court.
And the probate court.
What is that experience like if you have to go through probate and you don't have an estate plan?
I like to call it the original reality show.
Oh, I like that.
Anybody who believes that they should receive, whether they're a creditor, a remote loved one, that sister who took the $100,000 out of the account already, whomever they are, they have their 15 minutes of fame. They can come forward and apply to the court to receive something from your estate.
Wow.
It's a public case. Your social security numbers and account numbers won't be shared. But who receives what, in what amounts, their contact information. In these days and times where, you know, privacy is really at a premium, where identity theft is ever increasing, we don't want those details exposed to the masses. So be sure that you establish a plan that makes sense, that adds the privacy and protection. A trust is just such a wonderful tool. It's no longer only for the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Trust can be very helpful to any and all of us. A revocable living trust is, as I said, that asset management tool. You gather your assets during your lifetime while you have capacity. You start managing things through your trust. You can tailor things very strategically based on an individual beneficiary's abilities to manage things, provide the guidance. So you're not only transferring the things, the assets, but your wisdom.
Highly
Isn't that wonderful to be able to transfer your values and principles and your wisdom?
So my company is called Wisdom Then Wealth. So I'm going to ask this question. I have to know, so what is an example of how someone transfers their wisdom through their estate?
Through incentives. So we can incentivize certain behavior, nudge a beneficiary in a direction based on providing them a distribution of funds if they reach a certain milestone. So if education is important to you and you've seen it be beneficial in your life to be able to provide for your loved ones and to be able to build wealth, you would provide some type of incentive, maybe a distribution once they have completed their college education.
I like it.
Incentives to purchase their first home by providing that seed money. If they, for instance, take a financial course and make sure that they're going to be good stewards of that home and of their assets. So there are ways to kind of attach some wisdom, some incentives, some nudges in the right direction in order to promote certain behavior and to deter other behavior like laziness and, you know, lack of productivity, deter from certain types of addictions and things like that.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And so often, even in our community, we hear stories about, well, they sold grandma's house or grandma's house got taken due to taxes. Like, how do we prevent that?
I think we should have an annual family meeting. It should feel empowering. We're not talking about death, dying, and disability. We're talking about values, principles, wisdom, what we want our family to be known for. Let's come together, reconnect over, those things that bind us, that really help us to be a stronger family. When we talk about these issues, then we can collaborate, connect, and partner better. And at the end of the day, we will be able to hold on to those assets, those family assets. They won't be able to be just lost based on naivety or accidental damage and loss.
I really like that. The idea of a family meeting and we have that conversation. Someone recently actually shared the concept of having a wealth meeting and financial education at their family reunion.
Absolutely.
And I was like, wow, that is really great. And someone actually asked me to come and would I facilitate? And I was like, absolutely. Let's have these difficult conversations. What do you think prevents people from moving forward? Is it fear of death? Is it, discomfort? Like, what are the primary things you've seen sometimes that have discouraged people from moving forward with this?
It's fear all around. So death, dying, disability, money, we all have our own feelings about those things and our own relationship to those things. But the other thing is not knowing whether your loved one is ready for the responsibility, willing for the responsibility. And when an individual has many children, several children, and they want to balance the playing field, they want to make sure that no one feels left out. Sometimes they're unsure how to do that, and it almost creates a deer in headlight circumstance where they do absolutely nothing. But these family conversations can be helpful.
Okay.
We host facilitated family conversations, typically with up to 50 members of a family across generations.
I love that.
Because it's so important, different generations speak about things and have different perspectives on various things. When they can come together, we can give voice to all of the members of the family. Everyone feels empowered, feels comforted. The matriarchs and patriarchs understand, wow, they're ready, they're willing, they've heard me, they've received the wisdom. The sandwich generation, as they say, feels relieved. Okay, there's a plan. There'll be something in place. I won't have to start this from scratch. I won't have to guess at my parents' intentions.
Yeah, so
And
good.
The youngest feel a sense of responsibility. They know they're going to have to be good stewards of the assets, of the wisdom, of the lessons moving forward, and they feel empowered and they feel heard.
That is so beautiful. It's like we're able to literally change the trajectory of our family trees by just have the conversations up front, get a facilitator, have the education, just push through the discomfort and the analysis paralysis, right? It doesn't have to get right. Like to your point about you don't have to get it perfect the first time, right? When I say you don't have to get it right. When you said I am along for a lifetime journey, because you can write it, people can act up, and then you can change it.
You could.
It's a continual process. Right. Especially that sister who's driving that $100,000 Lamborghini. She's out the will.
Right.
She's done. She ain't in the estate plan no more.
And that's no longer your fiduciary because this person also was listed as the executor, the guardian, the this, that, and the other. And when, things are revealed, you need to revise, you need to update, you need to make sure it's relevant and that your documents express your current wishes.
Yes. Reveal, revise, and keep it relevant. She is dropping keys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, this is The Wealth Agenda with your financial coach and host, Tania Brielle Mabrey.